Okay, potentially I'm live. Let's see. Okay, I'm giving up. I'm going vertical. Game of training. Hello. Who are you? Tell me about your fine self. Okay, two people. Welcome to the adventure. Yay, so is it. Okay, Cheryl, you have to help me. Why won't my device rotate? Oh gosh. Okay. Oh, my strength book. Abby, you are too cute. I didn't know you would be here. Okay, cool. So, obviously, this is the 10K celebration. I'm so happy that we got to this. I very much did not expect it, so I'm thrilled that I've reached 10K. I actually genuinely set 10K as my goal, as after that I'm pretty happy. Being this size, I don't really get any hate comments, and I feel like I'm really managing to make a difference to you guys. So I'm really thrilled that we we get to do this together. And I don't mind if it never gets any bigger. So this was a big milestone for me, and I'm thrilled now to be there. Okay, people are commenting stuff. Mostly everyone's saying hello. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy people came. Cheryl says take off rotation lock. Oh, maybe I have to start it again. Okay, I will just live with this. I'm sorry that it's going to be vertical the whole time, but yeah, so yeah, 10K, totally crazy, super amazing. I massively owe you guys. Leighton, I'm not still in Thailand, I'm actually in Australia. We just arrived on Sunday night, so I'm in a brand new apartment, which we got off of Airbnb. I wonder if I can show you guys. It's a bit of a mess because we just arrived, but this is the view. So you can see the Santiago Mountains. And yeah, so this is our new Airbnb. So we're going to be here for a few months. No, not a few months, a few weeks. Trying to sort out our visa and all that kind of stuff, which is going to be a bit of an logistical adventure. I wish you guys could say stuff out loud. I'll read some of the comments. Someone wants to show me India. I've actually been to India 2 times, but I am dying to go again. I absolutely love India. It's probably one of my favourite countries. So I will be back. Danica says, nice view. Thanks. Most places in Santiago seem to be really high, so pretty much everywhere you rent is going to have an amazing view. And yeah, Santiago is where we are. We're finishing off some of our Startup Chile stuff. Yeah, which city are we in? Oh, Ed has arrived. So I almost got Ed, who you guys have probably met in videos, my fiance, to come on as a guest, but he's currently getting his hair cut. So we will see if he makes it in time, but he's on the live stream. So do I think Thailand is cheap to live in? What is a decent amount to expect to pay? I would say if you can have $1,000 a month, you can live very comfortably in Thailand. That's always kind of the number that we aim to live off. Regardless of how much money we have, that's always what we try and live off, whatever country we're in. So yeah, Thailand, I think you can easily do for $1,000 a month. You could do it for less. Some people are doing it for, half that. But other people are... Oh no, I don't want to hide the chat. No, how do I undo this? Okay, show, right. Yeah, some people are doing it for much more or much less, but that's kind of my feeling about Thailand. Ed and Avi are having a sweet chat. The Motherworks is going for... Oh no, I thought you were saying you're going for Bath. No, she's going to Bath for girls. Yeah. So, yeah. Oh my gosh, there's a few people from India. So in India, I have been to... Laura Winton. I have been to pretty much all of the north. We went to Agra, Varanasi, Jaipur, Jodhpur, Taj Mahal, all those amazing places. And then I've also done the south, so Goa and all that kind of thing, and it's amazing. I'm a huge, huge fan of India. I'm sure I'll be back. When? I don't really know, but yeah, I will be back. I feel like I want to give you guys some content kind of similar to what's in the videos. I wonder what you might be interested in. Do people have any questions they want me to answer? or I can talk about my next travel plans. So we're going to be in Santiago now for the next couple of weeks, depending on how long all this logistical stuff takes. And then after that, we will be Chilean residents. So we're going to get a proper Chilean ID card. We're going to be kind of fully living here, which is pretty crazy. We had a really good time on Startup Chile, so that's our plan now. And then I'm going to Cuba for Christmas and New Year's with my family. So Ed is going home to see his family for Christmas, and I'm going to meet my family in Cuba, which is a pretty crazy idea, but I think it's going to be fun. They were going to come and visit me in Australia, but they've been to Australia before and none of us have been to Cuba, so that's where we're going. So I've been thrifting a whole new wardrobe of crazy brightly coloured clothes, things like these earrings, which I actually got from Primark. But yeah, we've been thrifting all kinds of brightly coloured clothes ready for the Instagrams. My brother is a really good photographer, so I'm very excited to have him come along to Cuba and take some awesome photos with me. Ed will get a break from being the Instagram husband for a while. So the Ed's commenting all kinds of stuff. I'm glad you're keeping the comments going. Leighton, back to your question about living in Thailand. $1,000 a week in America is what you spend. I can easily live off $1,000 a month per person in Thailand. Like I said, you could do it for half that or twice that, depending on where you're living. You can get an apartment for, I don't know, $200 a month probably. I think we normally spend about £300, which is like $500 between the two of us. So it's up to you. It depends how much you want to spend on living. But we eat out 3 meals a day. We have a really nice apartment, and that costs us about $1,000 a month each. And yeah, so it freezes on your laptop. I'm afraid I cannot help with that. Cuba is great. Yeah, if anyone has any tips or places to go in Cuba, I'm in charge of collecting all the kind of itinerary of Instagram stops. We did see there is a nightclub in a cave, which I really want to go to. Although my dad is a bit claustrophobic, so I'm not quite sure how that's going to work. Apparently you go down like 8 flights of stairs and then you're just in this, cave, but it's all lit up and it's this amazing nightclub. So I think that's going to be pretty awesome. But yeah, like Ed is saying, there is no internet in Cuba. I get the impression that changes, it gets slightly easier all the time, but I think the internet is going to be a problem. So I guess Ed will just have to cover all my work because I'm not going to be available. Okay, what are good jobs to do as a nomad that could start now and earn 2k or so? So I guess, Leighton, the truth is that you probably have to put a bit of time in. So if you already have some kind of skill like graphic design or coding or anything that you can do as a freelancer, then that's going to be the quickest route to making money. If you want something more passive, like making Udemy courses or making ebooks or Kindle books or any of that kind of stuff, running a blog, running a YouTube channel for money, all of that kind of stuff is just going to take you a lot longer to get started. So if you want money fast, you need to probably just be selling your time, so as a freelancer. And then if you want passive money where you're not selling your time, then you'll have to put in more kind of time and like it pays off later. It all comes down to skills. What skills do you have? Yeah, exactly right, Avi. So you need to kind of think about what your current job is, what your previous jobs are, what your hobbies are, any possible way that you can make money. It might be something that you don't necessarily realize you have, like translating. If you are from a country that British isn't the first language, then you might be able to translate into that language. You probably can't do really high-end translations because you're not trained and qualified, but you can do kind of more basic level things where the quality doesn't need to be super perfect or the language isn't very technical. So yeah, have a think about what your skills are. The sooner you start, the sooner you'll be making money. If you can do it as a side hustle along your full-time work, or if you can quit your job and do it full-time, then that's awesome as well. Okay, I have a Shopify store right now. Amazing. Yeah, well, Shopify is a really good way to make money if you have the time to build it up. A real estate business. Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to hear more about that because maybe you could take it with you. I know that you say you can't take your real estate with you, but actually maybe you could. Maybe you could outsource it in some way or even sell your company. If you can sell it, then you can just live off that money for ages. Someone put, I never heard of your channel, but congrats on the 10k subs. Great. Well, welcome. I'm so glad you've now heard of my channel. Okay, let's see what else. Ed says do a press up. Do people want that? Yeah, Ed wants to come up with challenges. Oh gosh, here we go. Yeah, I'm up for doing some 10k challenges for you guys. Someone says, am I living off YouTube ads? No, I'm not at the moment. If you guys know much about YouTube, you'll know that ads don't pay very much. They do contribute to my income a tiny bit. I think it's around $100 to $200 a month at the moment. So it depends on how big your channel is, but most people aren't living off YouTube until they're really big, and at the time when they're really big, they're probably getting sponsored videos. So at the moment, I have done one sponsored video that you guys probably saw with a Udemy competitor. I've got a couple more sponsored videos coming up, so the more of those that I can do, the more time that I can dedicate to making videos for you guys. And if brands approach me looking for sponsorship, then I'm pretty fussy about who I'm gonna take on. But it's super exciting, and I'm always so glad when brands approach me. Okay, I'm gonna do the press up for Ed. I don't know where I'm gonna put the phone so that you're not just seeing straight down my top. Maybe that's what Ed is hoping for. Okay, I guess I can do one. I'm gonna do a proper one, so I hope you're ready. Did anybody else hear my back crunch? I don't know if that probably didn't reach you, but yeah, there we go. That's the first one. Ed says live streams are better than real life. Well, I guess that means you're just never coming home then, Ed. You can stay at the haircut. Oh yes, I was going to do a few wedding spoilers. I don't think there's many people here who are coming to the wedding. Avi, who you can see in the comments, my strength book, he is comparing the wedding, so he's going to be on the mic, bossing everybody around, telling them what the timetable is. Ed is obviously coming to the wedding. He is the groom. And then Cheryl got her wedding invite today, so she's going to be coming. But yeah, what can I tell you about the wedding? I'm going to do some wedding related videos afterwards. I'm definitely going to do what I didn't buy for the wedding. So for example, we're not hiring a car, we're using a family car. We know enough people with nice cars that we don't need to hire one. So we're not paying for a car. Ed's mum is baking the wedding cake, so we're not paying for that. My dress is vintage. It is from the 1920s, 30s. It's an amazing dress that I can't tell you much about because Ed is in this thread. But yeah, my dress I got from a vintage shop in Bath, so it will be fully secondhand thrifted along with basically my channel and life theme. What else are we not buying? We're not having a DJ. I'm making a Spotify playlist. Mostly because I'm a bit of a control freak, which is why I've never done a live stream before, because there is too much lack of preparation. I much prefer to be able to prepare and edit. Some things that we are spending money on, we're having some pretty badass entertainment. We're having a piano player who actually played at Victoria Pendleton's wedding, bizarrely, but he is a really awesome entertainer, so he does all his songs are requests. He kind of just sings and plays whatever song you request of him, so it's kind of like a crowdsourced, I guess. It means everybody can pick what music they want. We are also spending obviously quite a lot on food. We're having it just in a village hall so that I can have total control over what the design is going to be like, but it means we're spending a lot of money on doing it up, but we hardly spent any money on the actual venue. And we're going to have an open bar, which is very unusual in England, but because it's a village hall, we can just provide all the alcohol, so we are going to just have an open bar, which is pretty exciting. Okay, we have a possible question from Knowledgia. Hey Nomad, I have 4 courses on Udemy and I'm earning $50 a month, which is kind of bad. How many courses should I upload to reach $500 a month? I know you have a lot. So I did do a video where I shared kind of screenshots of my like journey on Udemy and how much I made each month from the beginning. I think rather than uploading more courses, although more is good, you'll make more money if you have more, you should think carefully about which courses you're going to make, and try and decide whether they will be profitable. I'm actually just about to release a training course all about Udemy, so there's links to that in my channel description box. If you want to sign up for that, I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to give it away for free or give out a discount code. But that will tell you a lot more about it. But basically, you need to really think, will people pay your course? As you said, you're making $50 a month right now from your current course. That's not a bad start. I would be interested to know what your course is. I would guess it's in lifestyle. But I would suggest that if you can, you do a course that is a bit more commercial, so maybe about business or about making money, or something that you think has a mass appeal and people are really willing to pay for. So yeah, I guess that's kind of my top tips for Udemy. You're teaching web development. Okay, so that's a very good niche, but I would guess maybe it's too saturated. Probably there's just so many courses on that, and there's some really, really big hitters. People who already have courses in that who have a lot of reviews and are really hard to compete with, so you're probably in a tough market. So you kind of need to find the sweet spot where you talk about something particular in web development that's maybe a new release, or a particular niche like web development for Nomads, or I don't know. Okay, Cheryl says, are you going to VidCon? I don't know when or where VidCon is. I think you're going to the Amsterdam one. If I'm in the right continent, I would love to come. I don't know where we'll be whenever it is. The wedding is in April, so after that we'll probably be around about Europe, although we also do want to go back to America for a bit. So we don't really have our plans yet for 2018 after the wedding in April. Ed says, show people the fruit you can buy in Chile. Well, we don't have any unusual fruit right now. But, okay, I know what I can show you instead. I can show you a little bit of our kitchen. So we had a little layover in London, so we managed to get our advent calendars. So we've got that at least. That was pretty much the main thing we did in London, was get advent calendars and go to Primark to buy some fancy earrings. And then, yeah, we don't have any good fruit. I mean, I can show you what's in our fridge, see if it's interesting. We have giant watermelon, loads of fruit. The fruit and stuff is really cheap in Chile, so we're trying to be healthy. This is what a wedding diet looks like. But yeah, we go to the market every Sunday in Chile so that we can stock up on fruit and veg and try and be a bit healthy, ready for the wedding diet. How long are you in Australia? We are going to be in Australia for all the way until the wedding, so until April. Which is going to be pretty awesome. Yeah, that's interesting, Kent. Kent says, seems like a contradiction between being a control freak and a nomad, where you're constantly dealing with new variables. I totally agree, actually. As a child or a teenager, I was very, planning and, yeah, kind of control freak, like wanting everything to be really organized and really sorted. But since then, I've got kind of increasingly laid back and just wanting to see where life takes me. So I guess it's a balance. I like my YouTube to be quite precise, I suppose. So I like to edit the videos. I do the thumbnails in Photoshop. And I guess with the live stream, I just wanted to do a practice so that it didn't end up vertical and maybe with bad sound and maybe with my phone running out of battery. I wanted to do a practice, so that is what I wanted, what I was saying about being a control freak. But I agree, being a nomad does take a particular type of person. You kind of need to be okay with change and not really knowing where you're going. You just arrive at the airport and try and work out how the taxis work or how Uber is working in whichever country you're in. It does involve a lot of uncertainty. Like I was saying, we don't even know where we're going to be from April onwards. But I think nomads vary in how organized they are. Some of them, like maybe Danica, who's saying here, Excel spreadsheets galore, you can be really organized. Like we could have pre-booked all our flights for the whole of 2018 if we wanted, but we choose not to. We prefer to have the flexibility of being able to kind of go wherever our friends are and take it how it comes. But yeah, I think it depends what kind of person you want to be. You can pre-book everything or you can just go with the flow. We're a bit of an in-between, so we normally have kind of the next 6 months booked, and then the next year kind of loosely in our head, like, oh, we'll do Thailand in the winter and we'll do America in the summer or whatever. Vicky Weeble. So Vicky is from school, I guess. I don't know when we met Vicky, probably when I was about 12. Vicky says 10k is amazing, knew you could do it. Well, I am thrilled for hearing that. People always say this, but I genuinely didn't expect to reach 10,000 people. So I'm super excited to have you all here with me. Carrie, do you have any tips for maintaining friendships when you're away for a long time? I feel so out of the loop. Yeah, I think that kind of is one of the downsides of being a nomad, is there's not a lot you can do about that. I book in Skypes with my parents and some of my closest friends once a month, every couple of weeks, I suppose. And I have WhatsApp threads with a few groups, so we chat a lot. So I have like a blogger group, a few that kind of thing. So we do keep in touch a bit, but mostly I feel like your best friends, you can just kind of not speak to them, and then when you see them again, it's just like you were never apart. So I find my best friends, when I come back, it's just like we were never gone. Social media is awesome for that. Cheryl says Louise is an amazing distance friend. I don't think I'm very good at keeping in touch with people, because I think if you spend too much time speaking to people who you're not with, then you don't end up meeting the people you're with. Like Ed has said, make lots of new friends. So he's totally right. Like we are always meeting people all around the world, and my Facebook connections just seem to be getting longer and longer. We're always meeting new people, so I feel like those real long-term friendships from childhood or something will be there to stay, but I don't really keep in touch with them very much. But I guess my tips are to book in calls on Skype. You could even set up alerts for their social media, so a few people, if they post on Facebook or if they post on Instagram or Twitter, I get a push notification, and so that means that I never miss theirs, because especially with time zones, sometimes all the Facebook action for my friends is like while I'm asleep, and so then I miss all their updates when I log onto Facebook in the day. So I think setting up push notifications like that can be really helpful, but mostly you kind of just have to either see it as a downside of being a nomad or see it as an upside that you're constantly meeting new people. So Kent says, I suspect most casual visitors to your channel don't realise how hard you work during the day, regardless of the location. You're not really on holiday. Yeah, I did a whole video about this, saying that nomads aren't like travellers or backpackers. And I don't know if it came across as a rant or not. It wasn't really supposed to be, but a lot of people, and I think it's our own fault, like I am constantly Instagramming the beach or cocktails, so I can see why people think we're always on holiday, but we do work a lot. We typically work about 12-hour days. We normally work from noon until midnight. That's kind of our style. We like to have a lie-in. Right now we're a bit jet lagged, so we've been getting up at like 7. It depends a bit on the time zones and what kind of work we're doing, whether we need to be in tune with a particular time zone. But yeah, we do work a lot. Some nomads work hardly at all. Some nomads work a lot. It depends really what their priorities are. Some people, like a lot of the people that we met when we were in Bali, were kind of just working to like get by. They just wanted to make enough money to be able to pay for a surf lesson or pay for some cocktails. And so they were doing, an hour or two a day in the morning of yoga coaching or something, and then they went back to just hanging out on the beach. We are taking a bit of a different approach because we're trying to build a kind of a future. So we're working a lot in the hope that it will pay off more long term and we're going to be, rich one day. I think I mentioned in one of my videos that buying a house with cash is one of our life goals. We really, really want to never have a mortgage. Obviously, it works out a lot more financially sensible if you don't have to have a mortgage, because mortgage repayments mean you end up paying a lot more for your house than the kind of ticket price. But also, it's kind of a personal achievement. Like, we really want to always be debt free and buy a house outright like that. So we'll wait for some updates on whether that ends up happening. Okay, we have a question. Sonia, what's been the biggest challenges in building up a business and being a nomad? I suppose I don't really struggle with this anymore, but a problem for me used to be the kind of uncertainty and worrying about the future. So I used to think that I'm opting out of having a career, and therefore I've taken this like alternative path that they just diverge, and if I stay being a nomad, I'll never be able to go back into being a career, and so what if I want to change my mind? But actually I don't really worry about that anymore. I used to worry a lot about not knowing, for example, when I was just doing freelance work, I was thinking this is never going to be enough. This is never going to be my dream money. It's just going to be enough to get by. And then when I was doing Udemy, I was thinking, like, is this ever going to get big enough? How many courses am I going to need to kind of make as much money as I would like from this? Like, if I want to support a family, I'm going to need more money than this. And I used to worry about that a lot. But now I kind of take it as it comes a bit, because I figure things just fall on your plate and you kind of don't know when they're going to come to you and what they're going to be. So even Udemy, I had no idea it even existed. I know a lot of you didn't until you saw my channel, and I just met someone who was doing it and showed me how. And so you kind of never quite know. Like, I could have planned for months before I moved to Thailand of how I'm going to make money, and then I would have come there, met someone who's doing Udemy, and be like, oh, okay, I'm going to do Udemy. So I think it's very hard to know where your life path is going to take you, and I don't worry at all about re-entering the kind of career marketplace if I want to. I don't think I ever will, like, realistically, but I don't worry too much now about whether I'm going to be able to go back into that space. I think probably if I wanted to get a job, I think I could, because I'm very multi-skilled. We do such varied work that I don't think it would be hard to get a job at this point. So I think that was my biggest challenge starting out and being a nomad, was that uncertainty of the future and worrying about where it was going to go and how I was going to support myself long term. How long, people often ask me, how long are you going to travel for? And all that kind of thing. And actually I don't really worry about that anymore. Okay, Ed says to Sonia, making the first $1,000 a month before you run out of money can be tricky because you're starting from standing start. Yeah, I totally agree with that, actually. Once you've worked out a way to make some money, whether it's freelancing, whether it's passive income, whether it's selling stuff on Shopify, once you've got that first $1,000 a month, it builds a lot of faith in yourself, and you realize, I can make enough money to live, I'm not going to starve, I can do this, and then a lot of other things will spin off from that. So then you just start looking at making that passive, and then once it's passive, you look at what you can do on top of it to kind of make more money. So yeah, I think that's good advice, Ed, is just try and work out how to make your first 1,000 and then go after that. Let me see. This Mother Works says, where would you like to buy a house? We will probably end up buying a house in our hometown, which is down in the south coast of the UK, mostly just because both of our families are there. It's on the coast, so it's really beautiful. I think that's probably where we'll end up buying a house, but who knows? We've also looked at houses in Bulgaria because they're really cheap there. We've looked at houses in Thailand, just kind of as a hypothetical. We really, really love Australia. Like, we would happily live there, but it's just so far from our families that I don't know if we'll be able to do that. So we'll see. I think realistically we'll be buying a house in England when we eventually do. Okay, how much did you save before transitioning to nomadism? So I actually had about £10,000. That wasn't deliberate savings so that I could be a nomad. I just have always been very thrifty. I've always been saving. Even when I was at university, I had savings. I was never kind of in my overdraft or that kind of thing. Maybe I'll do a video about some of my kind of top saving techniques if you guys want information on that. It's actually kind of one of my favorite things about myself is that I was just kind of born thrifty, and I think you can learn to save money, of course, and anyone can do it with determination. But even as a child, my brother, money would just burn a hole in his pocket. It was actually quite a problem when he would get money on Christmas and all the shops were closed because it was Christmas Day, and so he couldn't spend the money, and it was like a real problem. He would freak out that he couldn't spend this money, whereas I just loved saving it. I never wanted to spend my money, so I guess I was kind of just born that way. But yeah, so I had £10,000 which I'd saved from working at a charity and living at home, which I was very privileged to be able to do, but also yeah, just kind of saving day after day, like cutting things out. Like first of all, I don't drink, which saves a lot of money, but I also never really get a drink with a meal, even like a Coke, because I figure it's kind of just a waste of money. I hardly ever get a starter, or I never really get taxis, like anything like that. Obviously, I'm all about thrifting, so my clothes have all been pretty cheap. I don't like go into Topshop and drop £100 on a sweater. So yeah, I guess that's kind of where my money came from, just gradually over time. But yeah, that 10K I never even really dipped into when I became a nomad, because I started off freelancing straight away, doing bits and pieces. And then I also then I started Udemy pretty early on, so I never really dipped into that 10K, which was pretty amazing. Okay, let's see. Sonia says, do you have a remote team or freelancers you use for your business, and tips to manage them? So we have, not really. We have one employee called Joe, who is the best employee ever. We found him on Upwork, and he is very involved in the company that we sold a few months ago, which classifies the Twitter profiles. And then he also does some work for me now as well. So I find the best way to manage a remote team is we give people very clearly defined tasks, and then we kind of let them run with it. So the work that he's doing is reasonably steady, I guess. So it's kind of the same stuff every day, which means that we like write a handbook. I will do kind of a handover with him where for several days I'll be online while he's doing the work. And he can ask me if he has any questions, but basically I train him up, and then we just leave him to it, and he works for us 5 days a week full time. Apart from that, we don't have anyone in a team who feels more like a co-founder, people who we're speaking to kind of on a regular basis, and who is kind of iterating work with us, like doing work and then feeding back to us about how it went. So yeah, we don't have a ton of experience with hiring or having a team, but we do have Joe, and he is super awesome. Let's see, Ed says tell them about our apartment in Australia. So yeah, okay, speaking of being cheap, right now we are doing absolutely fine for money. The businesses that we're doing are doing really well, and like I said, we sold a company, so money is not really a problem for us, but I am still really cheap. So we are staying in the crappiest apartment ever in Brisbane in Australia. We have, I don't know if we're going to go back to the same apartment, but they seem to have some kind of, it's not really cockroaches, but like really tiny ones. Anyways, they have some kind of cockroach problem, and they said the guy was coming to like exterminate them all, but it clearly hasn't worked. So it's a really crappy apartment. I think everyone else there are probably students, although when we were leaving for the airport, someone said to us on the street, like, oh, I used to live in that apartment, and then there was a big drug bust, and they came knocking on my door asking if I'd ever bought drugs. And I was like, okay. But the reason we chose it, oh yeah, maybe silverfish, Cheryl, I don't know what they are, but if they're miniature cockroaches, then that's what we had. The reason we chose it is that it's really, really close to our apartment. So it's really close to our co-work. So it's like a 2-minute walk to the co-work. And that for us is a really high life priority, is commute minimizing. So we never like to have much of a commute. So it's like, yeah, 2-minute walk to our co-work. It's nice and quiet, but it's a really crappy apartment. So yeah, good times. Avi says we should go into more information about the sale. Yeah, I can do. So we were running a company called Journo Requests, which helps journalists and PRs kind of connect. So if a journalist needs someone to write about, like they want to write about the best Airbnbs in Santiago, then if you run an Airbnb, you'll get notified that they're looking and you can get in their article. So we were running that, and all the requests came from Twitter. So journalists were tweeting about the fact they were looking for people, and so we kind of put the tweets together in like an easy downloadable email notification. And yeah, that got acquired by the market leader. So they were there long before us. They're called Response Source. They are kind of the original, much bigger than us, but they acquired us, which was super awesome. So now we're part of that family, and that was our first ever acquisition, which was really exciting. So yeah, and then we decided to buy some Bitcoin with that money, which so far seems like a good idea, but watch this space, it may turn out to be a really bad idea. Okay, Knowledge is still here. I'm so glad you've hung around right from the beginning. Have you ever thought to quit Udemy? I mean, did you have a dissatisfaction at the beginning? So I think the thing with Udemy is that you have to kind of see it for what it is. So they do take a big cut, and they do heavily discount your courses, and the algorithm breaks, and you know, there's all kinds of complaints that you can have about Udemy about how they don't rank your course fairly or all these different things. But for me, it has been so passive that I really don't feel like I can complain. Right now is the big Black Friday sale. So typically November is the biggest month of sales for Udemy. So last month I made $6,000 on Udemy. Possibly this month will be my first ever $10,000. It depends how well Black Friday goes. But Udemy for me has been incredible. So I never really think about quitting it. The only times I've considered quitting are after we sold the company and I figured I was going to have quite a lot of time on my hands. I thought maybe I should spend that time promoting my Udemy courses, because if it's already making that much just from being passive, then maybe it would make a lot more if I actually promoted the courses and did a proper sales funnel, all that kind of thing. So I did think at that point about maybe I should take the courses off Udemy, self-host them, do Facebook ads, promote them, all that kind of thing. But I just decided it wasn't my passion. I don't really want to self-host my courses. So maybe I will eventually, but at the moment it's not really my plan. Yeah, everyone's saying 10k a month would be insane. I totally agree, it would be insane. My goal was always to make 1k a month. Like Ed said, that's been our goal, to make $1,000 a month so that we can live, and that's what I expected from Udemy. So if it can make $10,000 a month, then man, that'll be insane. So far $5,000 a month seems pretty consistent recently. So we'll see what Black Friday brings. I've got at least one more course waiting to be released, which is the one about how to do Udemy. So we'll see what that does. But I'm not currently actively making new courses because I'm having so much fun filming YouTube instead. That's kind of where I want to be. So, okay, it's been 40 minutes. I feel like you guys have been amazing and I don't want to take up too much more of your time. But basically, massive thank you for 10k to anyone who's subscribed or shared it or commented on my videos and watched my videos. Always let me know requests for more videos, because I will happily create videos kind of bespoke just for what you guys are asking for. So let me know what videos you want me to make next, and we will see what happens next. I'm going to go off into the Santiago sunshine, go back to the co-work, Maybe I'll send you guys a picture of Ed's new haircut after this. But yeah, massive thank you to you guys. It's been quite a journey, and I'm intrigued to see where it goes next. So yeah, thank you for showing up. I'm so glad this wasn't just me. I was totally sure I was going to be the only person here. But yeah, you're awesome. Enjoy the rest of your day and go be productive. Bye!